Okay. Anybody know the answer? Sully, what'd you get? 8. 8?
Times or is that
Okay. We'll talk about that in a second. But Sully got 8. Monica?
32.
32. Zoe?
32.
32. Taya?
32.
Okay, so we got some agreements there.
32.
All right. So it sounds like there's a few of us who got 32. Okay, now we should all get the same answer. But I also know how Sully got 8. Okay? I am guessing that everybody started by doing 2 times 6. Because we all know you have to do what's in the parentheses first, right? Okay, and then that's where we make some mistakes. So now it says 36, whoa, let's try that again. 36 minus 12 divided by 3. Okay, now I think what Sully did was 36 minus 12, but we can't do that yet. Why not? We have to do the division first, and we have to remember that we have to follow the correct order of operations. So we have to do this first. 12 divided by 3 is 4, and then 36 minus 4 is 32. Okay? If we did 36 minus 12 first, we'd have 24, and then 24 divided by 3 is 8. But somebody at some point in time in math decided that no, we can't all come up with different answers. There has to be a set way we do this. Okay, and that's called order of operations. Okay, now in your packet, I want you to go to page 1, everybody on this page. Okay, I want everybody on the page that looks like this. Now when you learned order of operations in the past, what did you learn? PEMDAS, right? How many of you learned PEMDAS? Okay, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, like that, right? How many? Did anybody learn something other than PEMDAS? Did anybody learn GEMS? GEMS? No? Okay, so they're the same thing. Many of you learn PEMDAS. Okay, or some people learn GEMS. They mean the same thing. Okay, and let me explain. Now, I like to think of it as 4 steps. 4 steps that you have to do. Now, you guys are going to fill in your notes as I write. If I put something on the board, you're going to write it in your notes. So everybody should have a pencil in their hand and not be drawing pictures or anything like that. You should be taking notes for math class, okay? So the first one, the P or the G. What does the P stand for? Liam? Parentheses. Now, I kind of like this one, G, because it's not just parentheses. Okay, the first step is grouping symbols. Okay, and grouping symbols can mean parentheses. So write this stuff down. It can mean brackets. It can be these kind of brackets. I don't know what they're called. Like the squiggly type bracket. Okay. So anytime you see any of those grouping symbols, we have to do what's in there first. Okay, so that's the P or the G. What does the E stand for? Zoe?
Exponents.
Exponents. So exponents comes next. What's an exponent? Theo. That's okay. Anybody remember? Zoe?
So if you have a number, then there's like a smaller number next to it. It's like, so 8 with the little 2 is 8 to the second power. So 8 times 8.
Or 3 to the second power. Now remember, that does not mean 3 times 2. Right? Okay. This means 3 times 3. 3 2 times, which is 9. So what is 5 to the second power? Monica?
25.
25, because it means 5 times 5. Okay, so we're just reminding yourself how to do exponents. Okay, what does the M stand for? Taya?
Multiply.
Multiply. What does the D stand for? Elise. Divide. Do you have to multiply and then divide? No. It could be divide and then multiply. Okay? So the third step is to multiply or divide from left to right. Okay, multiply or divide from left to right. Okay, now on the first problem I gave you, some of you saw a dot and you were like, oh, is that a decimal or what is that? Okay, now when we talk about multiplying as 7th graders, you can see multiplying represented a few different ways. We are no longer going to use an X most of the time for multiplying. You'll still see it once in a while. Okay, so we can do like 3 times 2, right? The X means multiplying. But as middle schoolers, we're starting to learn algebra, right? And therefore, an X is no longer multiplying, it's a letter. So instead, we might write it like this. 3.2. The dot meaning multiply. Okay, sometimes you don't see that at all. You'll see this. 3 parentheses 2. When there's a number right next to parentheses, that means multiply. Okay, so you can see any of those things and know that it means to multiply. For dividing, you're still going to see things like 8 divided by 2. You'll still see that division symbol. You might not, though. You might see this. You might see it as a fraction. That fraction bar means you're dividing. Okay, what's the last step? What does the last 2 letters stand for? Subtract and add, okay? So the last step is to add or subtract from left to right. Add or subtract from left to right. Okay, so if we follow these steps, we can solve any problem pretty easily. Okay, as long as you follow the steps. You always have to start with grouping symbols. Then we move on to exponents, then multiply or divide, then add or subtract. Okay, so let's try this a couple times. Flip the page in your packet. So flip to the back side. Okay, and we have some examples here. Okay, the first example. 50 minus 18 divided by 6 plus 2. What do we do first? Where should I start? Taya.
18 divided by 6.
Yeah, because if we go through those steps, the first step is grouping symbols. There are none. The second step is exponents. There are none. So I go to the third step, multiply or divide. So I have to do this dividing first. 18 divided by 6. Ooh, now we have to know our facts. What's 18 divided by 6? 3. Okay, now we have 50 minus 3 plus 2. What do I do first? Do I do the subtracting or the adding? Monica?
Doesn't matter.
It does actually matter. Because we have to add or subtract from left to right. Okay, so we are going, it definitely does make a difference. We're going to start here. Just like we were reading a book and move from left to right. So 50 minus 3 is 47. And then 47 plus 2 is 49. So our answer to that problem is 49. And if we all follow order of operations, we'll all get the same answer. Okay? That's kind of the point of it. We all want to get the same exact answer. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, let's start at step 1. Are there grouping symbols? Absolutely. Okay, so where do I start here? What should I do first? Go ahead.
The 9 times 2 is different.
Yeah. So we're going to do 9 times 2 first. 9 times 2 is 18. 18 plus 1 is 19. Okay, we did the grouping symbols. Next, step 2 is exponents. So let's do the exponent next. What's the exponent? Let me know what that is. 3 to the 3rd power means 3 times 3 times 3. What would that be? Liam, 27. This means 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 again is 27. And finally, we subtract. 27 minus 19 is what? 8. There's our answer. Done. So far, so good? Okay. I want you to try this one. See what you come up with. So example 3, try that one on your own. Grouping symbols first, then exponent, then multiply or divide, then add or subtract. And here's where if you need a calculator to help you with a multiplication fact, you could use it for that. Okay. If you did this correctly, you should have gotten 130. Okay, so let's see if what you did wrong. Did everybody do this first? So that's 11 squared, right? What's 11 squared? Zoe?
121.
121. 11 times 11 is 121. Plus 18 divided by 2. Okay, what do I do next? Monica.
18 divided by 2.
Yeah. So we did the parentheses, we did the exponent, now we have to multiply or divide. So I have to do 18 divided by 2 is 9. And then 121 plus 9, 130. Okay? Okay, let's do one more. What do you do when you see a problem that looks like number 4? Number 4, Elise. Okay, that line does mean divide, absolutely, but I don't start with dividing. Eli.
Should I get the answer from the top and from the bottom and divide that?
Yeah. So on a problem like this, there's some grouping symbols, we just don't see them. Okay, this is actually in parentheses on the top and parentheses on the bottom. So you have to do everything on the top and then everything on the bottom and then divide. So what do you get on the top? 14, agreed?
Yeah.
4 times 2 is 8. 6 plus 8 is 14. Okay, what do you get on the bottom? 2. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 plus 2 is 3, minus 1 is 2. Okay, now it's written like this. It looks like a fraction, but that just really means divide. 14 divided by 2, Wyatt? 7. So your answer is 7. Okay? All right, last one, example 5. Whoa, this one looks different. There's 2 sets of grouping symbols. Where do I start?
The inside ones.
The inside ones. I always start with the innermost grouping symbols. Okay? So I'm going to start here. What do I get when I do that circle part? 6. Agreed? 4 times 5 is 20. 26 minus 20 is 6. So now here's what I have left. What do I do next? Monica.
6 plus 6.
Yeah, you have to do what's in that next grouping symbol. 6 plus 6 is 12. and then to the second power. The exponent is outside of the bracket, so that comes last. What's 12 squared? Or 12 times 12? Sylvia? 144. So there's our answer. Okay. Sound good? I want everybody to log onto your Chromebook.